Okay, there we are. Hello, Shawna.
Hello.
So glad. Oh, I feel like we need to start with our own story of our friendship.
It's been long.
It certainly has
It's
been.
sporadic, I feel like.
I know.
It's
It's
fun.
been the most random journey, especially now that we're here talking about this.
Yes, I love it.
Well, before we get started, I just wanted to say that I am here again. I try to go live weekly on actually multiple platforms and have been interviewing friends of mine in the entrepreneurial space who have just kind of stepped into this out of the box opportunity. And it's just been really fun to allow people to share their stories. And hopefully, it's been educational for those of you who've been able to kind of catch some of the stories here and there. But Shawna and I actually go back a long time. We both were formerly part of the same college ministry called Crew in very different capacities. And so we met when we were both still single, before we even had any idea the things that were going to happen in our lives and the crazy twists and turns, which I'll let you share a little bit about here in a second. And I wanted to bring Shawna in here today because I wanted her to share her story, not only her health journey and what's kind of like led her to the place that she's at today, passionate about educating around holistic health, but also her career journey as well, which has had lots of pivots recently, and just and all in your 40s too.
I'm barely in my 40s. That is correct.
Yes. Yeah, we both turn 40 this year?
No, I will be turning 42 this month. So
Okay. Yeah.
hasn't been long. Yeah.
You barely crossed the 40-year-old line, and like all these changes that have happened.
Yes.
So crazy. So
Yes.
well, I'm just gonna let you kind of share. Would you mind starting off just sharing a little bit about your health journey and what's kind of led you to this place? And then we can kind of switch over into the career path that you've been on and why you've made the decisions you've made.
Absolutely. And they're so interwoven, I feel like, which is kind of fun. But yes. So I was thinking about this afternoon as I was prepping for this call. I think I was 39. So it was not that long ago. It's been a little over 2 years ago that I was diagnosed with cancer. It was a huge shock. It's crazy. I was diagnosed with endometrial cancer or uterine cancer. And which at 39, that's crazy young and very abnormal for that to show up in someone so young. I mean, my doctors were baffled. And
no family history?
No.
Wow.
No. And so, which I'm kind of grateful for that. But I mean, just because not being genetic is not, that's a good thing. But
yeah.
So within, I was kind of thinking through just the transition. And I think in that first year that started, I think I was diagnosed in May of 19. I think that's right. Mm-hmm. And so within a year, I was diagnosed with cancer, had a hysterectomy, moved, I think 3 times in that next year, got married, and started a job and turned 40. All in that year. It was just like, what?
And then the pandemic happens.
What?
And then the pandemic happened.
And then the pandemic. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, exactly. So, I mean, it's been quite a road. It's been crazy. But, so I think, initially when I was diagnosed with cancer, thankfully everything was contained and they were able to remove it. I did not have to go through treatments, which is a huge gift. I mean, so many people have to walk that road. So I'm so grateful. But I had been experiencing symptoms for a while ahead of time. And so by the time, it was a scary thing. I mean, I was in pretty bad shape after the hysterectomy, but initially, like immediately after that surgery, began seeing improvements. I mean, it's just crazy how your body works, and you get that stuff out of there and your body's like, okay, now I can function like I'm
Right.
supposed to, you know?
Absolutely.
And so I think it was probably a little over a year later that you and I kind of started connecting about MIG. And I was kind of in that process. You know, there was so much transition the 6 months or so, 12 months after that, that honestly, I wasn't even thinking about the fact that I had cancer until about a year later. Like, I was like,
Right.
oh, that happened, you know? And so was just processing that and going, okay, like, what can I do? And I am not a doctor. I am not a medical professional. And I don't think all kinds of cancers are caused by environmental factors either.
Yeah.
That could have happened regardless of what I do, you know?
Absolutely.
It happens. We live in a broken world, and that is part of it. But there are things we can do to help um, decrease the toxins and that do prove to lead to cancer, you
Yeah.
know, different kinds of cancer. And so I think it just really started a journey for me and my husband, honestly, that we're just looking at, okay, what can we do differently? And it's baby steps. You can't change it all overnight for sure. But everything from, you know, getting rid of candles in our house to looking at what we're putting on our skin, how we're eating. I mean, we're doing primarily vegan right now, which is really crazy. I never in a million years would have thought I would be doing that. And so, you know, I think just looking at what are some ways that we can steward what we have. You know, we're not promised tomorrow,
Yeah.
but we want to be able to take care of what we have. And so, Jody, when you shared with me about MIG, it was kind of the perfect timing for me because I was already kind of in that process of thinking about those things. And so I thought, you know, let's just try it because I had heard from various sources a lot of the skincare I had been using led to a lot of hormonal interruptions and things like that that can just be toxic for us. And so I was ready for something different. And so I tried it, and I just have really appreciated just the integrity of MIG and the commitment that they have to really do their homework to, you know, make it as pure as you can living in this broken world, you know? I mean, you know, and so I think, and it's been great for me personally. I think, yeah, it's been a huge blessing for both
Yeah.
Ben and I. So
Yeah. So amazing.
yeah,
Will you talk to us a little bit about your experience with the collagen?
yes,
My
yes.
favorite product.
So one of the first things that I tried, I asked Jody, you know, because you know when you first are introduced to MIG, you're like, this is a lot of things I can choose from. I'm not sure what to dive in with, you know. And so she highly recommended the collagen, and
Always.
because of
I always
because
recommend it.
yes, it's her favorite. And because of my cancer journey, although I did not go through chemo, because my body had just gone through so much, I was experiencing a lot of thinning hair, which is very normal when you go through something traumatic like that. You know, that's a common thing.
Yeah.
But I thought, hey, I'll try it. You know, I mean, it's not gonna hurt me. So yes, I've started it, and I will say I haven't even taken it as much as they direct you to take it. I will say I'm not one of those like two scoops a day kind of people. But even though I haven't done it as just because I'm, you know, I forget. But it has made such a huge difference. I mean, I just yesterday got my hair done, and she was like, "You have so much hair." I was like, "Well, that's music to my ears," because like it's been a journey. So um it's just been really sweet just to see yeah, it's just been a great resource for us. And I think I feel confident taking it, knowing it's not going to, you know, have any weird side effects. And it's just been
Yeah.
a huge gift to me personally, and it's great for the skin as well, obviously, and joints and all the
Yes.
things. But
Yes.
for me personally, it's just been really sweet to have that change. So
Right.
I'm grateful.
Absolutely. I love your story too because I in a world where so much of the messaging is buy this to look a certain way.
Sure.
Which, again, there's nothing wrong with wanting to feel confident in your skin and to have nice hair, not whatever. But I think that understanding if I can supplement my body and put in my body things that is going to actually help my body function at an optimal level, the way that God has designed it to function,
Yes.
then I want to be able to do that. And so
Yes.
that's what I love about the collagen is that it's
Yes.
intentional.
And really all the products, and I feel like it's been a really big shift for me thinking through like, do I care more about like anti-aging or do I care about that I'm actually putting things in my skin? Not that
Yes.
MIG is not, I'm not saying they're not anti-aging, but I just think it's a shift in how I prioritize things. What's
Right.
more important? Maybe, yeah. I think it's a big shift. I mean, aging
Yeah.
is not bad. We all do it, and it's a
No.
gift to age.
Right.
And I think if I can put things on my skin that's going to be healthy for me in the long term, that's
Yeah.
better. That's a big win. So
Absolutely. Yeah. It's been a huge shift for me too, because it's like, well, what we're going to embrace aging. We're going to embrace wrinkles. We're going to embrace, I've got all
the
my
grays, girl. I understand.
I've got all this, like all these changes, but their beauty is being able to take care of these vehicles that God has put us in, like given us,
Absolutely.
and do the best we can to take care of our bodies so that our lives can be used to go out and serve others. And so
Absolutely.
when you have products and things that are going to serve at the highest level and give you true authentic earth ingredients, I mean, I could
Yes.
just scream it from the rooftops. Yeah, love it. Okay, so yes, kind of shifting into your career transitions, and even being open to thinking through, oh, I've done this one thing, for many, many, many years, which has been incredible. And both of us have such a deep love for crew and how much
Yes.
that shaped us as people who love
People.
Jesus, leaders, teammates, all of that.
Mhm.
But talk to me a little bit about your transition and how your mind has been opened or changed and all those things.
So much. Yes, I was on staff with crew for 20 years, and which is literally half of my life.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I mean, I have so much gratitude for crew and how it's shaped me, spiritually, but also just as a leader and as a person. And I think, um, yeah, it's really been a gift, and just the adventures I've gotten to experience with crew.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, I mean, it's amazing. And I think, I did much like you as well. I think I thought marriage and kids would happen a lot younger than it did. And so I think, but it was such a safe place to kind of walk through my single years. And I
Yeah.
think being able to, give back. I mean, it was an amazing experience. And really, my process with kind of changing actually came before getting married. Like, it's been kind of a long process, but I just finished my last class, trying to get certified to be a child life specialist, which they work with kiddos usually in a hospital setting, and being able to help them emotionally and just psychosocially to be able to deal with medical trauma and help them process what they're experiencing, which is just important. And so it's something that I honestly considered before joining staff with crew 20 years ago.
I
And
did not know that. Oh
yes,
my gosh.
and
Okay.
decided to join staff instead.
Yeah.
But it's been something that just has continued to be in the back of my mind and thinking, I still kind of want to do that. And so I was like, okay, let's do it. And so I took the plunge and started school. And it was the first summer that I started taking classes that I met my husband and we started dating. So it's just really fun. It's just been a whirlwind. But all that to say, we kind of were at the point where we thought, okay, it's time to transition off. And so it was in August, I guess, technically, yes, that I left staff. And so it's brand new. I mean, I think I'm still like, oh, it's only been like 6 weeks. So
Wow.
um it's crazy. But yes, it's a big deal, and I think I was trying to figure out, because I'm in the process of getting certified. There's practicums and internships, and it's just a long process of not getting paid. Let me just be honest. I'm
Right.
kind of jumping through the hoops. And so my husband and I were just considering, okay, what I need to do some clinical volunteer hours, but what can I do with the rest of the time that I have that I could still um, not just contribute, but just be purposeful too with my time, And so MIG is one of those. I'm also teaching piano, which is really fun.
Yes.
Also doing some childcare. So I'm just doing a lot, trying to pack in as much with kids as possible. But
Right.
MIG was one of those things, and I never would have. It has to be the right time, first of all,
Yeah.
but also the right company. I
Yeah.
think I would never consider it with just anybody, and then so I'm just really grateful that really God just brought this in when he did. I mean, because I think it is an opportunity, Jody, you and I have talked a lot about this, where it is flexible and you can kind of make it your own. And there are seasons, like honestly, I thought I would hit the ground running a lot faster than it has gone for us in the last couple months, but just life, like, and
Right.
things have just shifted, and my husband got a new job. It's just been really bizarre. So
Yeah.
I think, but I'm grateful that it's there, and I'm grateful that I can go, okay, there will be seasons in the next couple of years where that will be a bigger part of, our reality. And
Yeah.
so I'm just grateful for the opportunity and for the flexibility to be able to, you know what, this week it doesn't really make sense for me to do a whole. I mean, it's just you can make it what you want, and I think that's a beautiful thing and a gift,
Yeah.
especially in our current COVID world. So
Ah,
it's really
yes.
a blessing for people,
Right.
because I think everyone's needing the flexibility because
Yeah.
everything is very up in the air. So
Yeah, absolutely. I am ugh, everything about your story is what I'm so passionate about, like the health side, but also I think because I come on social media a lot to try to educate about this industry, and a lot of the misperception is that you get put in some sort of pushy, salesy culture where you have to like compromise your integrity. All your friends are going to start running away from you in the grocery store. And it's like, no, that's not
it
what
can be like that. I mean, I think it can
that's
be.
true.
And I think some of that is,
It's true.
allowing myself, like, am I going to strive in doing this, or am I going, to walk in freedom in doing this? And
Yes.
I think that's a personal mindset too. And I think I've
Yes.
had to get there too. But,
Yeah.
I think it doesn't have to be that way. Absolutely.
No, it
Absolutely.
doesn't. Yeah. And that mindset can be applied to so many industries too,
Mhm.
just this need to get ahead, or your value, or all of your identity is in what
Mhm.
you produce or what
Absolutely.
you're accomplishing. So I love that. And I love that, even just seeing, I mean, I had never, ministry was all I knew before Bobby and I left staff and planted a church.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden I was like, well, I mean, I am working for the church in the same way that I would be, because I love these people, and but
Mhm.
it wasn't a job. And so I think one of the big shifts that has happened for me is like that employee mindset. Because even though we were in ministry, we were employees of an
Sure.
organization. So there's like there's an expectation, this is what you're paid, and these are your responsibilities. This is what you're accountable to. And this is very different. Although if you don't work, you don't get paid, but it's also, um, I think that this industry allows people to think outside the box of employee and think, oh, I am actually in charge of creating something
Yes.
that I decide my time, I decide my effort, I decide how I want to do it, I decide how I want to represent. And there is so much freedom in that. This is
Yes.
not a report to an employer. It's so different.
Well, and I love too that there are unique paths for people with
Yes.
MIG. I mean, there are some that
Yeah.
will go and do farmers markets and
Yes.
sell MIG. That's amazing. Like I was like, actually, I would love to do that. I mean, that's actually more up my alley, than
Right.
doing videos on social media, which is not bad. I think, but everybody is,
Mhm.
we're all created differently and have different gifts, and so I think I love that there's just so many options and avenues into MIG, and I think you can make it what you want, which I think is awesome. So
Yes. Oh, 100%.
yeah,
I love your heart. You've always, from day one of knowing you, have been a kindred spirit. And I'm just so thankful that our paths as friends started with Crew and that we're getting
yes,
to continue in a lot of ways,
I know.
with MIG. But I love seeing what God has done in your life and how he's using you um, in vocational ministry, but now taking a lot of those experiences and using them
Yes.
to serve families in a
Hmm.
hospital setting, which is so needed and
Hmm.
just beautiful. It's just beautiful how you are walking with the Lord and using your life to um, serve others in these really specific ways
I
with the
love
vision
that,
in your heart.
nothing is wasted, in our life and in our journeys and our stories. And I think
Yes,
God can use it. So it's
yes,
awesome.
I love that. Well, thank you for coming and doing a video
Thank you,
with me.
Jody.
This is literally my favorite thing to do. So I know my
I'm
mom watches.
honored.
My
Always.
mom comes on and watches, and maybe some other people too. So
That's That's usually how mine go down too. So
that's right.
yay. Well,
Well,
fun. Well, thank you, friend.
thank you so much, Shawna. And
Yes.
if you guys are tuning in, and Shawna and I have very overlapping networks. If you're connected to her,
Yes.
and if you are interested and curious about even learning more about MIG, reach out to her, and she can get you some more information. And we view ourselves as educators, not as salespeople. So we are educators in this space, offering one solution, and she would be happy to help connect you to some really good information. But thanks
Love
for
it.
joining us. Thank you,
Thank
Shawna.
you. Bye, everyone.
We'll be back next week.